take another image that I thought was given to me for a course by my friend Alejandro. I just love that image. And you can see easily on the left. This is something that we use to talk about usability, human factor, domotic, and now intelligent. So what happens? You see this in the drawing. There's an elderly person in the middle of the room at home, surrounded by technology, with a healthcare provider, with a family member, daughter, and a robot, kitten, television screen, network, data, and then is thanks to the intelligent home, you only need tele assistance just once a year to program the clock, the programmer. So if for that programmer you need the home visit, well then what is the intelligent? So what is the frustration? Well, clearly in the fact, frustration lies in the fact that our user and the beneficiary of all of these services looks as though it is really damaged by all of the services rather than benefiting from it. So when we talk about technology and services and expectations of the person, it has to be networks and that are satisfactory. And here we are with this person that is clearly unhappy. So there would be domotics, digital home, maybe some degree of usability, and maybe some degree of accessibility. The person has a company, the expert is but isn't with her, and the intelligence is heavily questioned. And at the end of the day, this is what I wanted to share with you. So what happens? The concept of intelligence, as it is perceived from the viewpoint of users' expectations, is very much related to a whole set of 5 definitions, the mixture of the 5 definitions that the Royal Academy of the Spanish language shows when we talk about intelligence. When we think about the smart home, the intelligent home, for more than 20 years, I dare say, some views and visions of domotics were very close to this idea of smart home, which I like to translate. Well, he's providing with the Spanish translation. He's just saying the crafty rather than intelligent, because I don't think is something that is truly intelligent, but it is developing into the digital home. And so how is this going to make it finally to become digital, accessible, and intelligent? Intelligence. What are we going to ask for in technology? What would be the pre-requirements the person would need to be met? It would not be coinciding with the widespread paradigm of intelligence. It would be rather on the side of thinking of somebody who has intelligence but usability, cautiousness, prudence, resolving problems, going ahead, a leap ahead of problems, step ahead of problems, but not intruding, having the capacity to understand and react. So the basis of knowledge will provide us with the possibility to react, to learn, and to be personal about it, and to understand sentences and expressions very much related to the context of the circumstance. This is what they call context awareness. And to think about skills, experience. And when I looked at the dictionary, in artificial intelligence says the use and development of computers trying to reproduce the processes in human intelligence. So it's like getting close. So let us turn the screw a twist further. And so the digital intelligent home should have these 4 basic skills. So maybe you will be thinking this is like a crystal ball. But this was the same thing like 10 years ago when we forecast that we would have internet and we would have the internet and we would have mobile devices. So the basic capacity would be to understand the user demand that would be personal and variable every time. And this has to be with perception and empathy. And when the user finds, understand that is perceived and there is empathy, then he thinks, oh, that's intelligent. I was talking to a colleague at the university some time ago, Ivan Pau, and for some people, the dogs are intelligent. Of course, look, he reacts, understands, is intelligent. And in another conference, I'm looking at José Manuel Azorín, and I think we talked about it. My cell phone is intelligent. In fact, it's called smartphone. And why is it smart? Well, look, this conference started at 9:30. It's 10:25. So I know I have 5 minutes left, but because I started 20 minutes late for reasons beyond my control, and the cell phone knows it without me telling the phone about it, okay, it's not bothering me, but it's wisely and prudently warning me that I have 5 minutes left. So look, the lights in this room are smart or intelligent. Why are they intelligent? Because they realized that last night I didn't sleep much, not because of my presentations, of course not. I didn't have to stay up to prepare for it. But then he realizes that that spot in the back is really hurting my eyes. So he understands and perceives, is empathetic with me, and he dims the light. So all of that reasoning, this advanced empathy, this is a precondition for intelligence, but it's not intelligent per se. So if on top of that, something that could be a problem is resolved personally, so for each person and for each context, it has reasoning capacity and is the right one, so then we are incorporating something that would be fundamental in the perception of intelligence. Thirdly, from the digital home standpoint, it has to understand and be aware of the needs, bearing in mind human aspects, ethics. Information shouldn't leave my home if it's not strictly necessary or if it hasn't been authorized by me and is justified for health reasons, social reasons, or personal risk reason, or others of personal consent given. And this is based upon knowledge. And then fourth, it should be learning. This is like a crystal ball, but this is what we're trying to do, to learn and to acquire experiences, to include answers to or replies to not known settings. I have to stop here to say about it, but rather because in the context of digital home, in order to favor independence and quality of life, is an increasingly valuable model. I've said many times, and I said this when I started to work a few years ago in telemedicine and telecontrol monitoring of variable factors. I see a lot of ambient and very little intelligence. In order to have ambient intelligence, you need to have sensors that are not invasive, ubiquitous, communications that are stable, fixed band, broadband, multimodal interfaces, all of these issues. But if all of these issues are there, but the system is not behaving intelligently, then there's no intelligence. There's a lot of ambient, but there's no intelligence. So it is crystal clear. And precisely reading last year a document of COSC, I will be commenting upon that. I talk about ambient intelligence. It's very simple, and I recommend you reading. It says no more, no less than it is not an ambient. It is not an intelligent environment. It is ambient intelligence. So it is not all of these gadgets that are really flashing there and surprising us. It's simply intelligence through the environment, offering people those solutions to meet their expectations. And for me, that's very clear. So what happens when in a research project like the one I was commenting upon before, like this little boy is winking his eye and saying, what kind of reasoning are we going to use to think about artificial intelligence? We talk about data mining. Have a lot of this unbundled data, and so what we have to do is to bundle the data, to infer patterns, and to come up with the right answer. But how are we going to classify all of these factors that are so heterogeneous, and we have very little prior experience in a true home with true people for a given setting, depending on the profile of the people, depending on the habits. And then we have to think, well, because these were many different thoughts that we launched in the previous year's group. So because we have a lot of neuronal network experience, let us take this. This is a very mature artificial intelligence, very user-friendly software. So let's take them and let's see how we can combine the sensors, events, profiles, etc., tasks, indoors, outdoors, that have to be prompted or shot or communicated to or triggered neuronal networks that learn, but and they could learn. But do we have insignificant patterns enough to build up a neuronal-like network? Well, that would be a problem. And then we carry on thinking, well, then we would have probabilistic networks, even if we don't know all of the inlets, all of the outlets that people may know or like. Do we have enough sample variety to infer that with this probability and with this set of events, this is the expected reaction? The people expect this is highly complex, many techniques, but which one would be the technique that would be most fitting? This is a problem with bottlenecks. So then we thought, okay, we know the elements in the digital home, and we know the expected behavior, and we know the tasks that we want to meet. Other than that, we can identify with experts. Well, let us build what I'm going to describe in a very simplistic fashion as information system with semantic knowledge beyond the database, traditional database, supported by a more basic information system. Let us build up an ontology, and with a formal description, let us include some reasoning, this and that plus this. We include this, we exclude that, and that would be a combination of event and task. That would be infinitely expanded if there's a lot of sensors and profiles. At least the logics behind the reasoning are more sound and solid, and then we can do an error and trial system to test whether that it works. This is what we did, and I will give you a brief demo. We thought the thing we care most is intelligence, so we trust that industry and other colleagues at university will develop more and better communication network and sensors, so that we have that information and the user profile, the relationship with the experts and the people, and then offer the reasoning we wish to offer as intelligence.
And this is a curiosity, but in this slide compares to the third or fourth slide I showed you at the beginning of the presentation. 11 years ago, Scott